Last month, I watched my brother's girlfriend's face go from smug to horrified when I revealed what I knew about her job. The family dinner that started with her mocking me ended with her in tears and my brother furious at everyone. My name is Emma, I'm 29 years old, and this story is about my older brother Tyler, who's 32. We grew up in Portland, Oregon, in one of those families that looks perfect on the outside but has all kinds of dysfunction underneath. Our parents, Richard and Patricia, are both doctors. Dad's a cardiologist, mom's a dermatologist, and they've spent their entire lives obsessed with status, reputation, and appearances. Tyler and I were raised with very specific expectations. We were supposed to be high achievers, marry successful people, live in nice houses, and make our parents look good at dinner parties. Tyler followed the script perfectly. He went to medical school like they wanted, became an anesthesiologist, makes around $350,000 a year, drives a Tesla, and lives in a condo downtown. I didn't follow the script. I went to art school instead of medical school, which my parents still haven't forgiven me for. I majored in graphic design, graduated with student loans, and spent my 20s freelancing and working contract jobs. I wasn't making doctor money, but I was making around $75,000 a year, which was enough to live comfortably and do work I actually enjoyed. But in my family, anything less than a six-figure salary and a prestigious career was considered failure. My parents introduced Tyler as our son the anesthesiologist, and me as our daughter who does computer stuff. They never said it outright, but the message was clear. Tyler was the success story. I was the disappointment. Tyler loved reminding me of this dynamic. At every family gathering, he'd find ways to bring up his salary, his benefits, his investments, his career trajectory. "How's the freelance thing going, Emma? Still scraping by?" Or, "I just maxed out my retirement contributions for the year. Are you able to save anything with your income?" It wasn't malicious exactly, but it was constant, and our parents never shut it down. They'd just smile and nod like Tyler was making reasonable conversation. I learned to tune it out mostly. I had a good life, a great apartment, amazing friends, and work I was passionate about. Tyler could have his superiority complex. I didn't need his validation. But then Tyler started dating Vanessa. He met her 6 months ago at some hospital fundraiser. Vanessa was 28, blonde, attractive in that very polished Instagram way. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, making around $90,000 a year. Not as much as Tyler, but enough to fit into my parents' definition of acceptable. From the first time I met her, I knew she was trouble. She had this fake, sweet voice she used around my parents and Tyler, but I could see the calculation behind her eyes. She was sizing everyone up, figuring out the family hierarchy, positioning herself accordingly. At that first dinner, she barely acknowledged me. Just a quick, "Nice to meet you," before turning all her attention to my parents, asking about their practices, complimenting my mom's dress, laughing at my dad's boring stories. Classic social climbing behavior. The second time I saw her was worse. My parents hosted a dinner party and invited Tyler and Vanessa. I came alone because I'd just gotten out of a relationship a few months earlier and wasn't seeing anyone. Vanessa made a point of asking me about my love life in front of everyone. "So Emma, Tyler mentioned you're single? That must be hard at your age. All my friends are getting married and having babies. Do you worry about your timeline?" I was 29, not 50, but the way she said it with that pitying tone made it sound like I was running out of time. "I'm fine," I said simply. "Oh, of course, I just mean it must be tough competing in the dating market when you're, not in a traditionally lucrative career. Men do value stability." My mom actually nodded along. My dad looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Tyler smirked into his wine glass. I didn't respond, just smiled and changed the subject, but I started noticing things about Vanessa. Little things that didn't add up. She name-dropped constantly. She'd casually mention luxury brands, expensive restaurants, high-end gyms, but always in this way that felt performative. She talked about her job a lot too, about the doctors she worked with, the products she sold, how well she was doing in sales. One night at dinner, she mentioned she just closed a huge deal with a major hospital network. Six-figure contract, she said, beaming. My commission alone was almost $20,000. Tyler and I are thinking about going to Bali to celebrate. My parents were impressed. Tyler was proud. I was skeptical because something about the way she talked about her job felt off. The details were always vague. She never mentioned specific products or actual work challenges, just big wins and impressive numbers. I'm not naturally a suspicious person, but Vanessa triggered something in me. Maybe it was the way she looked down on me, or the way my family ate up everything she said, or just my gut telling me something wasn't right. So I did what any millennial would do. I looked her up on LinkedIn. What I found was interesting. Very interesting. Vanessa's LinkedIn profile told a different story than the one she was telling my family. According to her profile, she'd worked at 3 different pharmaceutical sales companies in the last 4 years. Each job lasted less than 18 months. Her current position had started only 7 months ago, but that wasn't the interesting part. The interesting part was her education. She claimed to have a bachelor's degree in biology from Oregon State University, but when I clicked through to Oregon State's alumni directory and searched for her name. Nothing came up. I dug deeper, found her Instagram, which was public, scrolled back through years of posts, found her college photos, but they weren't from Oregon State. They were from Portland Community College. Nothing wrong with community college, but she was lying about having a 4-year degree. I kept digging because now I was curious. Found her old Facebook posts from 5 years ago, where she was complaining about money problems and her retail job at Nordstrom. Found posts about her struggling to make rent, asking friends if anyone was hiring. This wasn't the successful pharmaceutical sales rep she was pretending to be. This was someone who'd only recently gotten into sales, was job hopping constantly, and was lying about her background. I didn't do anything with this information at first. It felt wrong to expose someone's lies just because I didn't like them, but I kept the LinkedIn profile saved just in case. The in case happened 3 weeks later at another family dinner. This time it was at Tyler's condo. He'd invited me, our parents, and a few of his doctor friends and their partners. Vanessa was playing hostess, acting like she already lived there even though she didn't. I arrived a little late because of work. When I walked in, everyone was already drinking wine and chatting in the living room. Vanessa saw me and her face did this thing where she smiled, but her eyes didn't. "Emma, so glad you could make it. We were just talking about career trajectories and financial planning. You probably can't relate to that conversation, but feel free to join us anyway." A few people laughed uncomfortably. Tyler didn't say anything. My mom shot me a look that said, "Don't make this awkward." I sat down and tried to blend into the background, but Vanessa wasn't done. Over dinner, she kept making little comments. When someone mentioned buying investment property, she turned to me. "That must seem like a fantasy on a freelancer's income, right, Emma?" When someone talked about their retirement portfolio, she said, "Emma's probably more worried about paying bills next month than retiring in 30 years. Everyone laughed each time. Not mean laughter, but the kind of polite chuckling that happens when someone's being roasted and nobody wants to make it awkward by defending them. Tyler thought it was funny. My parents were clearly uncomfortable, but said nothing. My dad even chuckled at one joke. I just kept eating, saying nothing, waiting. Then Vanessa made her mistake. One of Tyler's doctor friends asked her about her job. "So Vanessa, Tyler mentioned you're in pharmaceutical sales. How's that industry treating you?" Vanessa lit up. This was her moment. "Oh, it's incredible. I've been with my current company for almost 3 years now, and I'm one of their top performers. I actually just closed a massive deal with Legacy Health that's going to bring in over $200,000 in revenue. My commission is going to be insane." More impressed noises from the table. Tyler squeezed her hand. My mom smiled approvingly. "That's wonderful," the doctor's wife said. "And you went to school for this?" "I have a degree in biology from Oregon State. I actually considered going to medical school like Tyler, but I realized I could make just as much money in sales with a lot less stress." She said this while looking at me as if to drive home the point that she was successful and I wasn't. That's when I pulled out my phone. "That's interesting," I said casually, "because your LinkedIn says you've only been at your current company for 7 months, not 3 years. The table went quiet. Vanessa's smile froze. "What?" I pulled up her LinkedIn profile on my phone and held it up so everyone could see. "Your LinkedIn. It says you started at your current company in March of this year. That's 7 months ago, not 3 years. Vanessa's face went pale. I must not have updated it. It also says you worked at 2 other pharmaceutical companies before this one. Both jobs lasted less than 18 months. That's 3 jobs in 4 years. Tyler was staring at me. "Emma, what are you doing?" "I'm just fact-checking. Vanessa said she's been at her company for 3 years. Her own professional profile says that's not true." Vanessa's voice got defensive. "LinkedIn isn't always accurate. I don't update it regularly." "That makes sense," I said. "It also says you have a bachelor's degree in biology from Oregon State, but when I looked up the alumni directory, your name doesn't appear, and I found your old Facebook posts from college, and they were all geotagged at Portland Community College, not Oregon State." The silence was deafening. Every single person at the table was staring at either me or Vanessa. Vanessa's face was bright red. "You looked me up? You stalked me online?" "It's LinkedIn. It's public information. If you're going to lie about your credentials, you probably shouldn't post them on a professional networking site." Tyler stood up. "Emma, stop. This is inappropriate. What's inappropriate is your girlfriend spending the entire evening mocking my career while lying about her own." My mom's voice was sharp. "Emma, stop embarrassing the family. Apologize to Vanessa right now." "Apologize for what? Pointing out that she's been lying to all of you?" Vanessa stood up, tears forming in her eyes. "I can't believe this. I've been nothing but nice to you, and you attack me like this in front of everyone? You've been condescending and rude to me since the day we met. You've made jokes about my career, my income, my relationship status all night long. Everyone laughed. Nobody told you to stop. But the second I point out that you're lying about your credentials, I'm the bad guy, one of Tyler's doctor friends cleared his throat. Maybe we should all just take a breath. But Tyler was furious. Get out, Emma. Get out of my house right now. Gladly, I stood up, grabbed my purse, and headed for the door. As I was leaving, I heard Vanessa crying and my mom comforting her, telling her that I was just jealous and bitter. I drove home shaking with adrenaline. Part of me felt vindicated. Part of me felt like maybe I'd gone too far. But mostly I felt angry that I'd spent the entire evening being mocked and nobody had defended me until I defended myself. Tyler called me 20 minutes after I got home. "What the hell was that?" he yelled. "That was me standing up for myself." "You humiliated Vanessa in front of everyone. You looked her up online like some kind of stalker and exposed her private information. It's not private, it's LinkedIn, and she was lying to your face, to everyone's face. She doesn't have a degree from Oregon State. She hasn't been at her company for 3 years. She's making up her career history. So what if she exaggerated a little? That doesn't give you the right to attack her at a dinner party. She spent the entire night attacking me. She made fun of my career, my income, my relationship status. Everyone laughed. You laughed. Mom and Dad said nothing. But I'm the villain for defending myself with facts? She was just joking around. You're too sensitive. If someone spent an entire evening making jokes about Vanessa's career and income, would you think that was just joking around?" Tyler was quiet for a second. "That's different." "How?" "Because Vanessa is successful. You're struggling. People make jokes. It's not a big deal. I'm not struggling. I make a good living doing work I love. Just because I don't make doctor money doesn't mean I'm failing. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment and drive a 10-year-old car. So, I'm happy. I don't need a Tesla and a downtown condo to feel successful." "Whatever, Emma. You owe Vanessa an apology. What you did was cruel. What she did was cruel. What you all did, laughing at her jokes about me, was cruel. I'm not apologizing." Tyler hung up on me. My mom called 10 minutes later. "Emma, I am so disappointed in you. I can't believe you would do that to Tyler's girlfriend. She was making fun of me all night, Mom. She was just being playful. You took it too seriously. If someone spent an entire evening mocking you, would you think that was playful? That's different. Vanessa is young and trying to fit in with the family. You embarrassed her. She embarrassed me first, multiple times. Nobody said anything. Because we were being polite. You could learn something about that. Being polite doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It means not airing people's private information in front of a room full of guests. What you did was vindictive. What I did was tell the truth. If she didn't want people to know she was lying, she shouldn't have lied. You need to apologize to your brother and Vanessa. This behavior is unacceptable." "I'm not apologizing. I'm done being the family punching bag." My mom's voice got cold. "Then I think you need some time away from family events until you can behave appropriately." "Sounds good to me." I hung up. For the next 2 weeks, I didn't hear from anyone in my family except my dad, who sent me a text saying, "What you did was wrong, but I understand you were upset. Please consider apologizing." I didn't respond. I heard through a mutual friend that Vanessa had a meltdown after I left. She'd admitted to Tyler that yes, she'd only been at her current company for 7 months, and yes, she'd exaggerated her tenure, but she claimed she did have a degree from Oregon State, just not in biology, in communications. And she'd only said biology because she thought it would be more impressive. Tyler apparently believed her at first, but then he started noticing other things. Inconsistencies in her stories, lies about small things. He started questioning everything she'd told him. 3 weeks after the dinner party incident, Tyler called me. "I need to talk to you." "Okay." Vanessa and I broke up. I didn't say anything. You were right, about the lying. She wasn't just exaggerating, she was making up a lot of stuff. Her sales numbers, her commission checks, even her degree. I finally looked into it myself. She never went to Oregon State at all. She went to community college for a year and never finished. I'm sorry. Are you? You exposed her. I'm sorry you got hurt. I'm not sorry I told the truth. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. She told me you were jealous of her, that you were bitter about your career and took it out on her. Did you believe that? At first, yeah, but then I realized she'd been saying nasty things to you all night and I didn't stop her. None of us did. We just let her mock you because, I don't know, because it was easier than calling her out. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. You're my sister. I should have defended you. It was the first time Tyler had ever apologized to me for anything. Thank you. I'm not sorry you exposed her, though. She was lying to me, lying to the whole family. You did me a favor even if I was too stupid to see it at the time. You're not stupid. You just believed someone you cared about. Still, I owe you an apology. And so do Mom and Dad. I'm not holding my breath for that one. Yeah, probably not. We talked for another hour. For the first time in years, maybe ever, Tyler and I had an actual conversation. No condescension, no comparisons. Just two siblings talking honestly. My parents never apologized. A month later, my mom called and acted like nothing had happened. We're having dinner next Sunday. You should come. Are we going to talk about what happened at Tyler's? There's nothing to talk about. It's in the past. So no apology? Emma, I think we've all moved past this. Let's just start fresh. I'm not starting fresh without acknowledging what happened. Vanessa mocked me all night. You told me to stop embarrassing the family when I defended myself. Then you uninvited me from family events. That's not something we just skip over. Fine, I'm sorry you felt attacked. Can we move on now? You're sorry I felt attacked? Not sorry that I was attacked and you did nothing? Emma, don't be difficult. I'm not being difficult. I'm asking for an actual apology. I don't think you're ready to move past this. Let me know when you are. She hung up. My dad called later. Your mother's pride won't let her admit she was wrong, but she knows she should have said something that night. We both do. Then why doesn't she say that? Because she's stubborn. You get it from her, you know. I almost laughed. I'm not the one who needs to apologize, Dad. I know, but do you really want to lose your family over this? I don't want to lose my family, but I also don't want to be treated like my feelings don't matter. Vanessa humiliated me. Everyone laughed. Mom told me I was embarrassing the family for defending myself. That's messed up. You're right, it was messed up. But your mother won't admit that, and Tyler's already apologized. What more do you want? I want Mom to acknowledge that she was wrong. I want to know that if someone treats me like that again, my family will have my back instead of making me feel crazy for being upset. That's fair, Dad said quietly. I can't promise your mother will give you what you're asking for, but I can promise I'll do better. I should have said something that night. I'm sorry I didn't. It was something. Over the next few months, things slowly improved. Tyler and I started having dinner once a month, just the two of us. We actually became closer than we'd ever been. He told me he'd always felt pressure to be the perfect son, and that pressure made him treat me poorly. I told him I'd always felt invisible in the family, like my achievements didn't matter because they weren't medical achievements. My dad and I stayed in regular contact. He'd call every couple weeks, and we'd talk about work and life. He started asking real questions about my career instead of just nodding politely. My mom and I maintained a polite distance. We'd see each other at family events, make small talk, but the warmth was gone. She never apologized, just acted like the whole thing had never happened. I was okay with that. I didn't need her approval anymore. The best part of the whole situation was that it forced me to reevaluate how I saw myself. I'd spent so long internalizing my family's view of me as the unsuccessful one that I'd started to believe it. But standing up to Vanessa, refusing to apologize for telling the truth, drawing boundaries with my mother, all of that reminded me that I didn't need their validation. I was doing fine. More than fine. I had a career I loved, financial stability, good friends, a life I'd built on my own terms. Tyler had the fancy title and the big salary, but he'd also just wasted 6 months dating a pathological liar because he was too focused on appearances to see who she really was. Last month, Tyler started dating someone new, a pediatric nurse he met at the hospital. She's kind, genuine, and when I met her at a family dinner, she spent 20 minutes asking me about my design work and seemed genuinely interested. She didn't make a single joke at my expense. Afterward, Tyler pulled me aside. What do you think? I like her. She seems real. That's what I'm going for this time. Real. No more Instagram models pretending to be more successful than they are. Good plan. And Emma? If anyone ever treats you like Vanessa did again, I'll be the first one to shut it down. I promise. I appreciate that. Now when I think about that dinner party, I don't feel embarrassed or guilty. I feel proud. Proud that I stood up for myself. Proud that I didn't let them make me feel small. Proud that I showed my brother what his girlfriend really was, even if it cost me temporarily. Vanessa's smug face when I pulled out that LinkedIn profile, the way her smile faded as everyone realized she'd been lying, the tears when she couldn't defend herself anymore. That moment was worth every awkward family dinner that followed. Some people will say I was petty, that I should have taken the high road, that exposing her was cruel. But I disagree. The high road would have been letting her continue to mock me while lying to everyone. Standing up for yourself isn't cruel, it's necessary, and sometimes the only way to make people see the truth is to show them the receipts.